Hey everyone, this is Evgeny and you're watching next episode in a series LangGraph Advanced. So today we're gonna check how supervisor multi-agent architecture works together with human in the loop. So join me and let's take a look at it together. Okay, so we are talking about supervisor and human in the loop, how to make them friends, how to run them together. And this is the previous lesson about the supervisor architecture. And basically the main confusion comes from the understanding how to interrupt your agent, because here you're not interested in interrupting supervisor, you're interrupting somewhere in a sub agent. For example, we are going to try trading agent now, and we'll take the trading agent from the previous session where we had interruption for some risky tools. And this is where the confusion comes from, because let's assume we have the supervisor goes to the placement to agent to trading agent, and somewhere inside the trading agent decides to stop the process. So how would user know about that? First question, which is not clear mostly for people trying to do this. And the second question, if the user has a connection only to supervisor, how would I resume the trading agent? Like if I try to resume the supervisor directly, and this is my natural feeling, then it would restart the whole process and I'm losing the resuming part, right? So these are the two questions that are not clear. And basically, let's go back to the current topic. Basically, this is how it happens. Again, it's very simple. First of all, your client or user, it always communicates via supervisor only. This is the rule number one. Like, supervisor is responsible for everything here. Let's take a look at the diagram here. So the client sends a request which contains a goal, and somewhere down the road, supervisor decides to delegate some responsibility to trading agent, here route to trading, and then the trading agent decides to interrupt the process. So what's happening? The normal way, like the trading agent we saw it already, it interrupts the process with specific payload, providing back some details, but this interruption doesn't go back to the client, it goes to the supervisor in this case. And then supervisor, it emits this interruption back to the user, so the user is aware of the fact that the process was interrupted. And interesting thing also, I make a note here that for enabling this resuming interruption process, you need to enable the checkpointer. You need to keep the graph state so it's possible to resume it. And the key point here is that you have to enable checkpointer only on the supervisor layer. So trading agent is not aware of that at all, and it's only supervisor's responsibility to have new checkpointer and to have this resuming mechanism where you're providing the same thread ID. So what's happening next? On the client side, you run the command, you resume the graph with the command and providing some feedback details, and we saw this already. But instead of doing something, supervisor just blindly and transparently passes that through to the trading agent. And part of this resuming command, it contains already the current state. So trading agent is aware to continue its execution from this point. And then the normal flow happens, right? This workflow, it sends back the result to the supervisor. Supervisor analyzes it, maybe makes another calls to other agents, or if this is the final thing, that the summary is being generated and sent back to the client. So this is how it works, all right? So this is the theory. Let's take a look how it works in practice. And I was mentioning that already. This time we are trying to combine two examples from the past, the supervisor architecture, multi-agent architecture, and we had the single trading agent which can be interrupted on risky tools. So we're trying to combine them all together in the one system. And for doing that, okay, we still have research agent, and this is exactly the same from the previous lesson. It's not like really nothing interesting here. I'm just compiling it so we can continue. And now we have the trading agent with interruption, and this one is from lesson number 4. If you're missing this, please go back and check the video. It was a really interesting thing, in my opinion, but maybe you have to check it on your own first. But thing here is that we are providing a halt on risky tools node, which decides if this is a tool call and the tool call is from the risky tools, then it interrupts the process, and then when we are resuming the process, it checks if the tool was approved, then we just continue. If it was not approved, that we are responding that the whole process was cancelled. And we are providing here post-model hook, our hard and risky tools. But again, this was already explained in the previous lesson, and this is the way how our agent looks right now. We have this post-model hook, which decides if the tool is a risky one and should be executed immediately, or if we should ask for user's approval. And this time we are creating then supervisor with checkpointer. So if you take a look here, we don't have checkpointer on trading agent at all. We don't have checkpointer on research agent as well, right? So they are not aware of any states, like of their inner states. And for the supervisor, we are copy-pasting from the previous lesson, but what we are doing differently this time, we are compiling it with checkpointer. And for simplicity, we're taking this, we're grabbing this in memory saver. This is practically the only change we have in our system. So it's pretty straightforward. That's the point I wanted to highlight. And this is how a graph looks like. We have the supervisor, we have research the same way. We have trading agent, which is aware of a post-model hook that checks the tool, right? And let's give it a try and test. So we are defining a new thread, and now this is necessary because we want to save the states. This is the requirement if you want to interrupt and resume the graph. And we're asking to invest 1,000 into AI sector and place an order for us as well automatically. So I'm running this. So let's take a look what we have here. This is the first user request. Supervisor gets the current timestamp to use it for performing research. And then having all this information, the supervisor transferred the control to research agent. And this one started a web research, most promising AI companies in 2025, getting back some results, and we don't care much about the results. Then it was wiki search for NVIDIA, and again some additional information from NVIDIA about this company. It seems like we're gonna buy NVIDIA at the end of the day. And yes, based on my research, it was NVIDIA, and then back to supervisor. Then supervisor send it to trading agent, and look at that, it stopped here. Like, we don't see any results from trading agent, and we know that, well, we had only single risky tool at the end of the day, and at least my expectation, like general expectation, would be that we see some tool calls for fetching the stock symbol, tool call for getting financial data, and only stopping on the buying part. But it kind of stopped already on entering the trading agent, and we can double check it that yes, it was interrupted, and the approval messages for NVIDIA. So we're gonna buy NVIDIA 5 stock shares for 175, and well, that's it, right? And take a look at that. We have a response, and this response came from the supervisor graph, right? And response already knows about approval and interruption from sub-agent. So what should we do? Again, we take the supervisor, we invoke it, we resume in the supervisor and providing the command back, which says, yes, I approve this buying, please do it for me. And since we're providing the same config, it knows the context from the checkpointer, and it can proceed the workflow. So I'm resuming it. And again, we have the whole conversation since we saved the state already. So I'm just gonna scroll through it till the interesting part. And so we're here, look at that. It was transferred to trading agent, then it was lookup for stock symbol, NVIDIA, and getting financial data for NVIDIA. And then it was place order, and practically this was the place where we stopped for user approval. And have you seen it? Like we stopped, and it was successfully, it was able to resume the exact workflow in trading agent, right? But we approved the tool call, then the order was placed because of that. And trading agent says, okay, I have successfully placed the order. The total spend was something 877. And back to the supervisor, and supervisor decided, okay, you invested. Like, everything looks fine. And traditionally, let's take the negative case as well, where we would decline the buying. And the same question, the new thread here. It's a random one, right? But it's a new one. So I'm providing config here as well. And again, the response I have back, it's from supervisor, right? The response we're going to check on interruptions. And I'm running it. This is the new thread, the new memory. Okay, here we are. And what do we have here? The same most promising AI companies 2025. and NVIDIA and Hugging Face, possible candidates, then wiki search, and another wiki search, and finally it decided again to take the NVIDIA, and we are practically at the same position, right? Company NVIDIA 1000. And if we check it, it was interrupted, and the same approval needed pop-up kind of appeared here, and this time I'm declining it. I'm saying, okay, no, sorry guy, I'm not gonna approve it. And the config points to the proper memory state, right? So I'm scrolling till the end because this is a repetition of the previous state, and NVIDIA, then we had here a risky tool, which is placed in order, and was cancelled by human. Then a message was that the current and possible next steps, and to bend back to the supervisor. And supervisor decided, okay, the current market price of statistics, and please confirm. But the whole process, the whole workflow was finished here, right? We didn't went to the trivial trading here because we canceled it. And let's try and, well, in general, you can do different things here because it has memory. It remembers the previous steps. And for example, well, the reason may be that, okay, I don't want to have buy 5, I want to have only 3. And so I'm starting another thread with the same supervisor, with the same config, but this time saying, no, let's buy only 3 shares of NVIDIA. And let's take a look how it works in this case. And again, we have the whole previous dialogue about researching and finding the NVIDIA, and finally canceling the order. It should be there as well, because like now everything is stored in the memory in checkpoints. Let me just quickly double check it. Okay, cancel but human. And then it was my new request. Let's buy 3 shares. And look at that. At this time, supervisor is clever enough to understand, okay, I know the company. I don't need to do any research anyway. Like I can transfer directly to trading agent, and this is NVIDIA and 3 stock shares. And again, it was a risky tool, and the process, the workflow was interrupted. And this time, look at that, it asks to buy 3 stock shares for the price for NVIDIA, and this time, okay, I'm approving this. And again, this is the really thing, you have to scroll down till the updates, and okay, here we are, it was trading agent, the action, we approved that, it filled for 3 shares, and totaling in 5 to 6. Back to supervisor, and your order is complete. You successfully purchased 3 shares of NVIDIA. Alright, this is the end of this video, and it was me, Evgeny. Thank you for watching till the end, I really appreciate it. And let's stay in touch, because in the next videos we are going to check some more interesting concepts in the field of LangGraph introduction series. So take care and bye bye.